Over a decade ago, I ventured from my small town in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, to realize my dreams of becoming an animator. The first logical step was, of course, to obtain an art degree. Having a deep hatred for the town that my parents had chosen to reside in, I elected to move far away to the hot, dry desert of Arizona. The journey there was magnificent. My hopes and dreams were being realized, and I was eager, embracing adulthood. This was my time to grab the world by its balls. A time for me to ruthlessly pursue my goals and make my dreams a reality. In reality, fate had other ideas. I received my dorm assignment and, with the help of my parents, moved my belongings to my new residence. I was the first to show up and settle in. Not much later, my new roommate showed up, escorted by his older sister. The man was overweight, sweating profusely in the Arizona heat, and on crutches from an apparent foot injury. I say man because, unlike 18-year-old me, this guy was 26. He complained and moaned about the heat and the struggle of being fat and using crutches. His sister was pleasant, greeted me and my parents, who were on their way out, to give me some privacy. Having ridden a wave of unferreted optimism, I was ready to be open and welcoming to this disheveled mess of a human being. But it didn't take long for him to reveal that he was a full-on, socially inept weeb. From here on, I shall refer to this sweaty colossus of anime tropes and cringe as Cait, because his doughy body reminds me of the fat Moog doll that character Cait sits upon in Final Fantasy, and I don't think the subject in question would actually be offended by the alias given its origin. Cait is very eager to tell me about his posse of friends back home, and it struck me rather odd that a grown man would emote in such a hyperbolic fashion, and to do such these bizarre vocal impressions. His vocal expressions became a thing of mockery among my normal friends I managed to find in this bizarre Twilight Zone episode of my life. Like me, Cait was an art major and was eager to show off his work and tell me the entire history of the fictional characters that he had concocted. The character that will forever be burned into my memory is one he called Shim Megami, which he gleefully web-splained to me was Goddess of Death, but a quick Google search will reveal that the translation is a little more complicated than that. Anyway, Shin Megami was crudely drawn, as if drawn by the hands of a child. All his characters were, of course, anime style, but completely terrible. The proportions were wrong, line quality was poor. Anime manga is supposed to be easy because it takes dozens of artists many hours of redrawing characters to create animated films and TV episodes and comics, but this guy wanted to be an art major and couldn't manage a single drawing. Her white eyes shining through a mist of shadow cast by her purple-blue hood reminded me of the South Park character Mysterion. Shin Megami's nemesis of a character was called Slade O'Neill. That's right, Slade O'Neill. These characters had less of a superhero-villain relationship and more of a bully-dork relationship, and I had to live with this guy who would never skip the opportunity to act out the storyline he was writing in a comic book between these two idiotic characters. There was no escape from him. I couldn't say, well, it's been great seeing you, but I have to do homework, or I got to return some videotapes. I spent a lot of time driving aimlessly just to get away. Cait's annoying habits weren't limited to his poor anime art skills and his dubious storytelling abilities, though. Cait had hygiene issues. As I mentioned before, he has a cast. He told me that he hurt himself jumping off of his parents' back porch, which seems like a pathetic way to injure oneself, but when you weigh over 300 pounds, I suppose it's not very surprising. He has not worn glasses, which I can suspect that if he did, his tits probably would have given him black eyes during his fateful fall off the back porch. In any case, Cait was not supposed to get his cast wet. His solution? Not taking a shower. In 110 plus degree Arizona heat. After a couple of days, he smelled awful, and I was put in the awkward position of having to point out just how bad he smelled and to let him know that I would not tolerate this. I didn't want to create friction with the guy because I was stuck with him for the time being, but fortunately he's kind of a pushover. So he never really put up a fight when I confronted him about the issue. Even when he bathed himself, I still had to contend with the issue of his general messiness. There were scraps of pages of his bad Shin Megami Slade O'Neil Abomination comic book all over the dorm. His textbooks and paper would coat every surface, as well as discarded snack wrappers, Pocky boxes, and hot fry wrappers everywhere. Then there was this issue of trying to enjoy myself and having him interrupt to inane commentary. I love samurai films, and the college library had a ton of them, whereas in my small town I had to buy them if I wanted to see them. So I was binging Kurosawa, Kobayashi, Gosha, etc. when this man would come along and try to give me some sort of history lesson. The samurai followed the code of the Bushido. Yes, I know this, Cait. The small swords are called wakatazushi. I know, Cait, and this isn't relevant to the movie right now. You know, a samurai wouldn't draw his sword unless he's going to bloody it. Cait, I want to watch this. You should really check out Samurai Champloo or Rurouni Kenshin. They're probably a bit better than these old films. Go away, Cait. Living with Cait for several months, before I managed to transfer to a new place, I had tons of incidents revolving around him. Like the time I found erotic Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction sitting on his desktop. The thing is, Cait was only a first of many weebs that enrolled in the art program at my school, and it became clear that myself and the other people that we were outnumbered in many classes by these weebs. The weebs scare easily, but they return in greater numbers. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, don't forget to hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little tiny bell icon. It gives you notifications for when these new videos come up. I also have a link for my Tumblr, which you can send your own stories to that I will read. And I also have a Twitter for any time there's notifications for the videos, or I can just talk about stuff, anything, whatever. It's basically a shit posting Twitter. But anyway, the links will be in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!